Hello mathematicians and welcome to Number Corner. For Number Corner today, we are going to take a closer look at our April calendar grid. This month, the calendar grid has to do with gardening. Let's read a quick story about a boy who's going to start gardening with his dad. Hi, my name is Raphael, and I love to plant seeds and watch them grow. Today, my dad and I are building a raised garden bed for our spring vegetable garden. A raised garden bed is kind of like a sandbox. To make one, you nail boards together to make a rectangular box, like this. Then you fill the box with good soil so your plants will grow. Here's a picture of my dad filling our raised garden bed with soil. When you're finished, you can divide the garden bed into parts or sections and plant something different in each section. We are going to divide our raised garden bed into 4 equal sections and plant a different kind of vegetable in each section. What kind of vegetables do you think we should plant in our garden bed? By the way, you can also make a circular raised garden bed like this one, but it's a little harder to build. I want you to think about what you would plant in a raised garden bed if you built one. There are many different kinds of vegetables. Here are some of the vegetables that you might want to plant. Take a moment to think. You will have more time in Seesaw later to decide what vegetables you might want to plant in a garden bed. For now, we are going to think a little more about the different sections of the garden bed Raphael was telling us about. Remember, Raphael said they would divide the raised garden bed into 4 equal parts. If Raphael and his father divided their raised bed into 4 equal parts, what is the fraction name for each of those parts? Take a moment to think. Show a connection if you were thinking that those parts are called 1/4 or 1/4. Now I'm going to show you a piece of paper that I'm going to fold into fourths or quarters. And I want you to tell me as I fold if this would be considered 1/4 or 1/4 of the rectangle or my piece of paper, and why. Here's my piece of paper. I'm going to fold it one way to fold it into 2 pieces, and then I'm going to fold it another way to fold it into 4 pieces. And here are the 4 pieces of my paper. Did I fold my paper into fourths or quarters? Thumbs up or thumbs down? If you're showing a thumbs down, tell me why this would not be fourths. Think about why. Now, you may have thought of a few different reasons. The main reason this is not fourths is that these 4 parts of my paper, they are not the same size. This piece is really tiny. It is not the same size as this big part over here. This long skinny piece is not the same as my big piece over here. Now I want you to try folding a piece of paper into 4 equal parts. Remember, the way I folded it was not showing equal parts. You will need a piece of paper. You can use a piece of printer paper, a piece of notebook paper, or a piece of construction paper. Whatever paper you have, you can use. Do your best to fold that paper into 4 equal parts. You can pause the video now if you need more time to get and fold a piece of paper. Now, if you have folded your paper, I want you to think about a few things. Look at each part of your piece of paper that you folded. What is each part called? Show a connection if you remember that it's 1/4. Good memory. How do you think you could check to be sure that all 4 of your sections is a 1/4? Show a connection if you're thinking, well, they all have to be the same size. Exactly. That's what tells us it's a 1/4. It needs to be equal. All 4 parts need to be equal. Now let's have a look and see if we all folded our papers the same way. Now you may have folded your paper in one of these 3 different ways. If you folded it like this in the upper left, show a connection. That's one way. All 4 pieces are equal. If you folded it like this in the upper right, show a connection. That's another way. All 4 long, skinny parts are the same size. If you folded it like the one on the bottom right here, show a connection. That's another way. Your long pieces are all the same size. They are all showing equal parts. Now, I want you to look at your piece of paper. If you don't have a piece of paper, look at our 3 examples. And I want you to point to 1/4 or 1/4 of your paper. Here are 3 different ways on the bottom to write 1/4 or 1/4. If you were pointing to one part, any way that you folded your paper, that's showing 1/4. Now let's think about how we could show 2/4 or 2/4 of your paper. Point to 2/4 or 2/4 of your paper or the pictures on the screen. Are these the pieces you were pointing at? Good thinking. 2/4 or 2/4, it also shows 1/2. We can see that we are covering up half of our whole rectangles. How about 3/4? Can you show me 3/4 on your paper or on the pictures on the screen? Oh, show a connection if this is what you were showing or thinking. This is showing 3 of the 4 parts of our rectangle. 3 of the 4 pieces of the whole rectangle. Can you show me 4/4 of your rectangle or of the rectangles on the screen? Show a connection if you pointed to all of your parts. This is also known as one whole. We have 4 parts here, they're all filled in. 4 parts here, they're all filled in. And 4 parts here that are all filled in. We will continue learning more about fractions and vegetables as we go through our calendar grid for April. Your job now is to go on to Seesaw, show your teacher that you watched this video by selecting the vegetables you would plant into each 4th of your garden bed if you built one. Good work today, mathematicians. I'll see you next time for Number Corner.